Hey y'all, this is Cliff with the Dusty Cliffs, and today I wanted to talk about survival gear versus survival skill. Why it's important that if you're going to buy survival gear, that you need to practice with it and develop the skills to actually use it. So you hold on, we'll be right back. Now I want to be careful how I word this video because I don't want people to think that I'm trying to be a know-it-all or act like that I'm something I'm not. So I'm going to start off with this. I'm not a survival expert. I'm not an arms expert in any way. What I've always done and what I've always been good at is taking something that's made for one thing and use it for something that it's not made for, but it ends up working out. So it's kind of that thing where you can look at a bottle and see 5 different things that you can do with the bottle besides just hold water. People are buying a lot of stuff right now for sustainability and survival. But if you buy those things and throw them in a backpack and you never learn how to use those things, there's no guarantee that it's actually going to work. And I've been saying this all along, is if you see something that you're interested in and you think that that might work for you, get out and try it. Practice with it, develop the skill that it takes to actually make those things work. So we're going to give a couple examples real quick. Alright, I bought one of these Ultimate Survival Technologies survival knives a long time ago. And basically anything that's black and orange is going to catch my attention because that's just, I like those colors together. It's just a Chinese made blade with some low quality paracord wrapped around it. And it comes with a small ferro rod buried in a larger magnesium rod. Now the premise of this knife is it has a serrated blade and it has a regular grind on the front, and then the last portion of it serrated. And it's just a basic knife, nothing special. But the premise is that you can shave down a pile of magnesium, then hit that with the ferro and get a fire started. The only thing is I've tried that several times with this, and there's no guarantee, even with the magnesium and the ferro rod, that you're going to get a really good fire going. So if somebody was to just buy this, throw it in their backpack, and think all of a sudden that they can survive, they have a definite fire, this is a possibility of fire, not a guarantee. You got to practice with this stuff, see how it works, see how much magnesium it takes to really catch good with the ferro rod. And honestly, that ferro rod will run out long before you run out of the magnesium. So this is just a temporary, not a long term. But without trying it out, you never know. Okay, right here we're boiling some water with this biofuel. This little stove that I got, I think from an Army surplus store. A stainless steel cup that I got, I think from Walmart. And I've been trying to find a good way to use these things together. And so far this works. It's kind of not the greatest. You'd have to definitely keep it level. But I'm going to play around with this setup so that I can boil water, which it's almost to a boil now, so that I can boil water and clean water if I need to, or I could throw a can of soup in there and heat it up. But without trying this stuff out, I would never know if this was going to work. And in a real survival situation is not the time to find out whether or not your setup is right. You want to do these things when you've got time. You can do it in a relaxed situation to where when you can look at it, see the mistakes, straighten those mistakes out, and then when you need it, you know it's going to work. Alright, another example would be the Ultimate Survival Technologies electric lighter. Now this lights off of the electrodes. I really like this idea. This is rechargeable with a USB, and I've sat around and just to see how many times this would work. So this I'm almost certain was going to work all the time. What I found out was when you're lighting things and you're having to get it up in between those electrodes to catch the arc to get it to light, you start getting buildup on the electrodes. So I got it out one day and went to strike it and it wouldn't do anything. So what you have to do is take a piece of plastic or wood and just scrape the tip of the electrodes. Now if I didn't know that, and I hadn't messed around with it and just played with this thing, I might have gotten a survival situation. And I keep saying survival, you know, we're not there yet, but I mean just in case, just scenarios in your head that you think of. But in a survival situation, I might have needed that and it didn't work, and that's not the time to sit and try to say, why is this not working? You want it to work when you need it to work. So that's why I say, if you're buying gear, even if it's a tent, set it up in your garage. I've done that. Sleeping bags, stretch it out on the floor, get in there, sleep in it, whatever. Try it out. Make sure it's going to work for what you need it to work for. And there again, I don't want to come off as being arrogant or act like I know a lot of stuff that I don't know, because most of the things you can learn, you can go straight to the internet and get the information and then try it out. And right now, most people have food, most people have water. I know everybody's probably carrying a gun right now and they have ammunition. So now's the time to start learning these things when you're not under a lot of stress. Now there's a lot of people who have survived situations that were just thrown into it. Airplane crashes out in the jungle and there's always a story of someone who survived that shouldn't have made it. But that's because they had the will to survive. They didn't give up. They kept trying. They figured things out as they went. So the will to survive is one thing. So let's have that, but let's also put some skills to it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just talking to hear myself talk, because I do that sometimes. But y'all come back, hit that like and subscribe, and we'll talk at you later.